younger than us or, passed and retired. So why not? I want to challenge myself. The best always looking to fight the best and challenge themselves, and why not, challenge.
Terence Crawford can't beat him, right? This is a money grab for Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy.
But if you study Floyd closely like I have, you will notice that he never wastes any steps while he's...
Terence Crawford reportedly accepted Floyd Mayweather's fight offer during a live interview with Stephen A. Smith, saying that boxing, to him, is about challenging himself and never backing down no matter who stands across the ring. He explained that the best fighters should always face the best, and he feels ready to rise to that challenge once again. Speaking with calm confidence, Crawford made it clear that a fight with Mayweather isn't about hype or fear, but simply another chance to test his limits, prove his greatness, and go beyond every expectation.
It's the businessman talking, right? They got to pay the cheddar to make it better, right?
For sure, for sure. All money ain't good money, so you got to know that.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to use the word easy, but at times it did feel like you were, having a really easy time out there. Were you expecting it to play out that way?
Listen, it's never easy.
Stephen A. Smith has never been shy about sharing strong opinions in sports, and his praise of Terence Crawford carries real weight. When he highlights Crawford's success as a champion in 4 different weight classes, it's not just talk, but recognition of something truly rare in today's boxing world. At a time when many fighters avoid moving up or down due to the risks involved, Crawford chose to challenge himself and dominated every division he entered. Stephen A. points out that this ability to adapt, control fights, and win at multiple weights firmly places Crawford among the all-time great pound-for-pound fighters, showing not only physical versatility, but elite skill, sharp mindset, and a relentless desire to face tougher competition.
Fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance. He had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled. He backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on
Roy Jones Jr., a legend who understands what it takes to dominate across weight divisions, has praised Terence Crawford's intelligence and creativity inside the ring. He pointed out that in Crawford's fight against Canelo Alvarez, Crawford successfully pulled from the styles of fighters like Floyd Mayweather and Erislandy Lara, who each gave Canelo problems in their own way. Jones explained that what makes Crawford special is his ability to study opponents, learn from past fights, and apply the right tactics at the right moment. Rather than copying those styles outright, Crawford blended them into his own flow, adjusting on the fly and staying effective throughout the fight, a level of adaptability that separates him from fighters who depend on a single approach and struggle against elite competition.
Alvarez has been a great fighter his whole career. People like Erislandy Lara gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. People like Floyd Mayweather also gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. But Bud is more fierce, more fearsome and more angrier and more meaner than both of those guys. So if they showed you the blueprint, Bud gonna go out there and take that blueprint and do even more with it, which is what Bud did. So it was never a question in my mind whether Bud really was going to outbox me. It's just if he could take the punch. And right away he showed, bam, he could take the punch. So I knew from that point, if he just slow him down, which he did, he'd be okay. Then late in the fight, what other people still didn't see, late in the fight, Bud started hitting Canelo's body. One of those body shots, I think about the 7th or 8th round, hurt Canelo. I was like, whoa. Bud hit him in the right spot then, and he got Canelo's respect with that too. So Bud fought a very, very awesome fight, fought a beautiful fight, very tactical.
Very controlled.
Yes, it was a beautiful fight for boxing.
It was a beautiful fight. Bud got hit with some shots.
He did. He got
hit with some single shots going out. He's going out and Canelo, if he has you trapped in the corner or along the ropes, it's typically 1 to 2 big shots. You know that if you've watched him.
Yep.
So you could tell Crawford, as he was going out, he knew the one shot was coming, and several times it landed. He even got hit with a two-piece. I don't remember what round it was, uppercut right hand that Crawford took well. So when you started seeing him absorb the shots, if you're Team Crawford, you don't want him to take that shot. But if you started seeing that, now you know that, okay. And I think that's what gave Crawford the green light to stay there a little bit longer.
He smiled about it.
He smiled about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that smile can be a lie, and sometimes that smile can mean what I think it meant for Crawford, which is, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
The idea of Terence Crawford sharing the ring with Floyd Mayweather, even in an exhibition, has stirred heavy debate among boxing fans. Critics believe the fight could hurt Crawford's legacy, arguing that after historic performances like dominating Errol Spence and outclassing Canelo, stepping into a money-driven exhibition may look like choosing cash over competition. They point to Mayweather's recent focus on lucrative showcases rather than legacy-defining bouts and feel Crawford has earned too much respect to risk that perception. Supporters see it differently, saying Crawford's place in history is already secure and that facing Mayweather would simply add another fascinating chapter to an already legendary career.
It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy. This is what was being said. Right? This is what people perceived Terence Crawford was just attempting.
When fans line up the careers of Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford, the debate quickly becomes complicated. Mayweather's record includes wins over some of boxing's biggest names, but many critics question when those fights happened. Canelo was still young and developing when he faced Floyd, and Pacquiao entered their long-awaited 2015 fight with a shoulder injury, which raised doubts about how fair the matchup truly was. Floyd's unwillingness to offer rematches, especially against Pacquiao, also left some fans unsatisfied. By comparison, Crawford is often praised for beating opponents who are seen as being in their prime, keeping the discussion alive about whether Mayweather's flawless record was built only on elite skill or also on smart timing and careful opponent selection.
Than Terence Crawford. We need to really talk about this now. A lot of you guys are putting Crawford a bit too high. If you want to say Crawford could beat Floyd, I'm more open to that conversation, but when you're lining up the careers, I'm gonna say Floyd every time. While they're both 5 division, Bud has become 3-time undisputed, but he's only fought 10 world champions to Floyd's 25 world champions. You can't take away the 5 division, 3-time undisputed. In terms of accolades, yeah, he probably gets the nod over Floyd. I say their accolades are about relative, considering Floyd Mayweather won Fighter of the Decade as well. But when you get to the resumes, Pacquiao, Oscar, Canelo, Cotto, Mosley, Castillo, Marquez, Zab, Gotti, Hatton, and Corley. It's probably way more people that this guy just didn't name. And then when you get to Bud's resume, not saying it's just bad, but the only names that's really worth mentioning is going to be Spence and Canelo. It's not a knock on Bud. Bud was not able to make those fights early on in his career. But I got to tell you guys what it is. Bud's resume just doesn't line up with Floyd's. Take their top 20 wins. Bud don't even got 20 wins to really sit here and name. Floyd got a good 20 something plus. Bud probably got about 10 wins that we could really sit here and name. Floyd's still greater than Bud.
Jeff, a respected voice in boxing analysis, has pointed out that Floyd Mayweather's greatest strength went beyond defense and speed and rested in his mindset. According to Jeff, Floyd's absolute belief that he could beat anyone gave him a powerful edge, even in tight and competitive fights. His elite boxing IQ, ability to read opponents quickly, adjust in real time, and stay calm under pressure separated him from fighters who relied mainly on physical talent. Jeff explains that this mental dominance, paired with technical precision, is what made Mayweather seem nearly unbeatable and helped him retire with a perfect record.
But you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
You fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me...
Boxing world is always searching for exciting matchups, and one of the hottest topics right now is a potential fight between Terence Crawford and David Benavidez. Benavidez brings size, power, and non-stop pressure, creating a challenge unlike anything Crawford has faced before. Fans see this matchup as a true risk, one that could test Crawford in new ways and push his legacy even further. Even without an official announcement, the talk keeps growing, showing that fans crave bold, legacy-defining fights instead of money-driven exhibitions. A Crawford versus Benavidez showdown would be a classic battle of skill against size and precision against aggression, making it a dream fight for many boxing fans.
He essentially jumped up 3 weight classes, technically 2, from 154 to 168, but only had 1 fight at 154 last August against Israel Majamov. Terence Crawford defeated Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is a 4-division champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, and the reigning, at the time, super middleweight world champion, undisputed world champion. And Terence Crawford beat him handily and convincingly. And because he beat him so easily, now the 63 win, 3 loss, 2 draw, 39 win by way of knockout, biggest threat has been now imposed on Terence Bud Crawford. And that's the Mexican Ecuadorian monster, David Benavidez, who is a 2-division undefeated world champion, is the 2-time WBC super middleweight and reigning WBC light heavyweight, 175-pound champion, who has a record of 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. He stands 6'2" with a 75-inch arm. This is a fight that David Benavidez has been calling for Canelo Alvarez when he was at 168, and Canelo Alvarez strategically maneuvered around him. But Canelo Alvarez is 5'7" with a 70-inch arm reach, started his career at 147 pounds, made his real name at 154 pounds. He's not a big guy, okay? And styles make fights. Benavidez is 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach. His last fight at 168 against Demetrius Andrade, he rehydrated to 193. So he's a big guy. Canelo Alvarez probably rehydrate to 182, maybe 185 max, right?
Comparing Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford is a debate without a clear answer, as both fighters conquered the top competition of their time in dominant fashion. Mayweather's flawless record and defensive brilliance shaped his era, while Crawford's success across multiple weight classes and continued dominance is equally impressive. Because they competed in different periods under different conditions, a direct comparison is difficult, and naming one as definitively greater may never be possible, but together they represent the highest level of excellence the sport of boxing has to offer.
I said that was going to happen. If Crawford was to win, we're going to be seeing a lot of these debates on whether or not Floyd Mayweather or Terence Crawford is going to be better. Now, this is going to be a debate for a long, long time. I'm talking about one of those debates like LeBron versus MJ, Messi versus Ronaldo. It's one of those. And the thing is, I can get behind it. Let me go ahead and say this. When it comes to resume, I do think we give Floyd Mayweather the edge. I mean, he beat a bunch of champions. He reigned for a long time. While Crawford, his resume is heavily criticized, and he's just not getting, his kind of respect for beating Errol Spence and Canelo Alvarez. But if we're talking strictly off of skills, this is where things get really, really tough to talk about. I think a fair assessment of this matchup would be Floyd Mayweather wins from 135 and 140, while Crawford wins from 147 to 154. And I say that because I feel like Floyd's style changed once he got to welterweight. He became a more defensive fighter, and he just wasn't as much focused on offense. And knowing this, I feel like Crawford would have had a much better chance of handling him. And we all know, Crawford was an absolute monster at welterweight. But hey, man, like I said, this is going to be a debate for a very long time. I can't wait to hear all the talk about it. But I'm curious on your thoughts. Who do you think wins in the fight? Floyd or Terence Crawford? Let's talk about it and follow me.
Greg Hackett's comments on Terence Crawford's win over Canelo speak to the deeper meaning of that moment. By labeling Canelo as the best fighter in boxing, Hackett underscored how dominant and feared he had been for more than a decade. Crawford didn't just step in the ring with him, he took control and broke him down, signaling a clear shift in power at the top of the sport. In Hackett's eyes, Crawford has now become the fighter everyone fears, standing at the very peak of boxing. That victory didn't simply strengthen his resume, it changed the entire landscape and marked Crawford as the man who took the throne and set the new standard.
Canelo is the guy right now in the sport that's supposed to be the man, you know, big bad wolf. You beat him, you the wolf. Now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, who else I'm gonna fight? You beat the shark, you beat the wolf. Damn. Like, you know what I mean? Ain't no more ops out there. It's ops out there, but who gonna make them really want to get up? That's the
shit gotta make sense. Like you said, you be the shark and then you be the wolf.
Yeah.
But there's the monster.
Yeah, there is, but that's like a real monster.
Bro, that's to me it don't make sense. But that's what
monster.
Yo, is that proof? All right, we got the legendary Pape in the building. Legend. But what makes sense? Like, what makes the most sense? I know you said get a line of suits, Brooks Brothers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
saying? Your line of suits get your money. Yeah, go ahead and get the easy money. You ain't gotta sweat no more.
What's up,
Not saying you ain't gotta work, you ain't gotta sweat. He's paved a career where he could sit down at a table and get this money. He could come out with a Terence Crawford series now, just whatever, doing whatever he like to do. People gonna watch it. Nobody, the fighting part, people don't understand what it's like to be a fighter. A lot of times, fighters really don't be interested in certain fights. It's because when a guy see himself up here and is fighting a guy down here, it don't interest him. So therefore, when he train, he not gonna really train. He gonna train, but he not gonna train. He not gonna listen. He gonna feel like his coach taking it too serious.
Terence Crawford's win over Canelo Alvarez proved to be a defining moment that wiped away any remaining doubts about his greatness. His earlier victory over Errol Spence had already silenced many critics by showing complete control from start to finish, but breaking down Canelo, a fighter long seen as nearly unbeatable, sealed his place in boxing history. Analysts now agree that these performances leave no debate about Crawford standing among the all-time greats, as his ability to dominate elite champions across multiple weight classes clearly sets him apart.
Enough action, and I think Crawford displayed his skill enough, even to someone with not the most trained eye, that they know they saw a very high-level athlete perform something at a very high level last night. I think he gained the sports world's attention last night and respect. He already did after Spence, but it went to another level in this fight.
And I think even the fight itself, like just from a median level, but then the moments where they were having these exchanges, like kind of late in the fight, then people were like, all right, it was good. Then like, okay, I saw somebody like, they're squabbing, like there's a fight here. So I think it did.
And Crawford closed the show.
Yeah.
In 10, 11, 12, he stood in there and landed some hard shots and rocked Canelo at the bell. He didn't. James was talking about the great Floyd Mayweather. Floyd would go up on you 8-0 and then coast, and you might as well turn the fight off at midway through the ninth. Like, you know, he's not gonna. But Crawford.
That wraps things up for today's video. So stay tuned and we'll catch you in the next one.